Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and I hope everyone is doing okay and hanging in there, and if you're not, I am sending you good vibes. I don't know what to say. It's crazy times. And I know this is like the first episode I'm putting out in a while. I'm just kind of adjusting to that new normal. It's crazy. I made this checklist. This is my new normal. I made a checklist of like things that I should be doing every day. And one of those things, like no lie, it says grooming. Just grooming. And you know what? I'm not even doing that. Like your ears right now are like listening to a mouth who has teeth that aren't brushed. So I guess take that into your ears for a second. For today's episode, no matter what you're going through, I honestly think it's going to I hope it gives you like a brief respite from what you're going through, because it did for me. Before we recorded, I was kind of like in this funk, and then my guest like totally like lifted me up, and it was ooh, I hit something, it's okay. She totally like lifted me up, and it was just like such a wonderful time for me. So my guest is Nicole Kronzer. She's a YA author who's coming out with a new book called Unscripted, which takes place at an improv comedy camp. And I loved this book so much because honestly, it, for many reasons, but one of it is that it addressed like issues that people encounter in everyday life, particularly, toxic masculine behavior. And so you don't, and it's like not even just like YA readers, young adults who encounter this behavior. I think everyone does. So I highly recommend reading it. Nicole is awesome. And she's also an English teacher. And the book we're reviewing is a book that, I 100% think is going to be added to her syllabus in the future. It's a sci-fi romance called Star Puppy. It's written by Susan Grant, and it is currently 99 cents. So please enjoy this interview and review of Star Puppy with Nicole Kronzer. Hi. Okay, sorry. One more thing real quick. Nicole just wanted to give a quick shout out to her cover designer, Lisa White. You will obviously see Lisa's amazing work when you purchase Nicole's book, Unscripted, and you can also check out lisawhite.xyz. Okay, and now on to the interview. Well, Nicole Kronzer, welcome to Too Stupid to Live.
Thank you, Becky. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. So first, I always whenever I ask authors, I kind of go right in of tell me about yourself and tell everyone about yourself.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm originally from a small town in west central Wisconsin, and I grew up wanting to write books from a very, very young age, but I didn't know anybody who did that. And so I was pretty sure you had to live in New York City in order to be an author. Strangely, I went into theater, which I don't know why that seemed like an easier, more a life that seemed in reach compared to being an author.
Sure.
But I went to college for acting at Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and I would pick it all over again. I loved it there. The program was so great. People I met were so great. And I actually started doing improv in high school, but I really fell in love with it in college. And I performed with this wonderful group in college that I helped found. And that was a really big highlight. And so when I graduated from college, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Chicago. I'm going to be on Second City, and then Saturday Night Live, right? That was the trajectory. But I was the only one graduating. The other people on my improv team sort of had different plans. And some of them weren't done with college yet. And so I ended up moving to the Twin Cities. And I lived with my mom. My parents had just gotten divorced. And so I was like, well, I'll live with my mom for a year, and then I'll go to Chicago. And then there's great improv in the Twin Cities metro. And then I met my husband, and I got a great job. And so I never moved to Chicago. So then I did a bunch of professional acting and improvising here in the Twin Cities for about 5 years. And there were just some things about it that I didn't realize didn't jive with my personality. I am an early riser. And theater people have to be willing to stay up late. And I know that sounds so stupid, right? When people meet me, they're like, oh, clearly you were a theater kid. But there's things outside of just the love of acting that you don't necessarily understand until you get in it,
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And I was hard for me not knowing where my next job was coming from. I'm a person who sort of likes a schedule. And so I'd also always wanted to be a teacher. So I went back to college. I went to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities and got my teaching license. And I have been teaching high school English at Champlain Park High School, just north of Minneapolis, for the last 14 years.
Wow.
And so I get to do all of the improv things. Being a teacher is one big improv performance.
I'm sure.
And then, and then I guess it's about 5 years ago, my kids were 3 and 6. And so they were I always say the youngest was at an age where she wasn't going to tip head first off of a slide. And you know how when they're little and you're just always making sure they don't kill themselves. Mm-hmm. And so when she got to be a little bit older, I said to my husband, I was like, I think I'm going to try to write a book. Because my school librarian had been bringing in all of these authors, and they kept talking to me and asking if I wrote. And I was like, oh, maybe people in New York City aren't the only people who get to write novels.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I know. And I was in my 30s. It was amazing. So I think, the librarian brought in all these authors so kids could see that they could be writers, but it had this unintended consequence at making their teacher realize she could also
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I wrote a book. I tried to get an agent. It didn't work out, but I was writing Unscripted while I was trying to get an agent that first time, and I got an agent with Unscripted. So that's my story, I guess.
That's awesome. And so why don't you tell us all what Unscripted is about?
Sure, great. So Unscripted takes place at a very fancy, exclusive improv camp in the mountains of Colorado. And the idea is that kids go there, and then scouts from Second City and UCB and IO and all these places would come and see the up and coming future improvisers of America. This place doesn't really exist. I just made it up. But Zelda Bailey Cho is 17. She's our protagonist, and she has those same dreams that I had, Second City, Saturday Night Live. So she goes to this camp, and she wants to be on the top team, and then she makes the top team. But she's the only girl to make the top team. And then she finds out she's the only girl to make the top team in 15 years. And she finds herself in this like den of misogyny. And so one of the questions that the book asks is, when you're trailblazing, how much do you owe yourself? Because she's miserable and she wants to quit. And how much do you owe the people that you represent? Because she feels like if she quits, then she's letting down all women. And, she represents like all girls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was reading it, when I first started, I was like, oh, I wish because I felt like I related too much to Zelda almost, because I had the same thing. Sometimes I still do, of like moving out to LA, I'm going to do UCB. And then by the time I'm 25, I'm going to get on Saturday Night Live. Obviously, my life took a different turn, but, because there's other things other than SNL you learn.
Right.
But, so when I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, I wish I had a book like this in high school. And then as I got further in, I was like, oh, I really wish I had a book like this in high school based on where it goes.
Thank you. Yeah. I've been saying that like, it's a book about feminism. It's a book about, like emotionally abusive relationships. It's a book about improv, but you don't have to, you don't have to be an improv person in order to connect with the book, I think.
Yeah.
And, there's the storyline with Ben and Zelda, and that came up sort of in my life because I had all of these students, like this flood of students that were coming to me, talking to me about their relationships. It was mostly girls, and they were saying things like, well, I have this boyfriend and he doesn't really want me to hang out with my friends anymore. Is that okay? And I was like, no, girl, you're in an emotionally abusive relationship. And they'd be like, no. But it's so great when it's just us together. And I kept hearing this over and over and over again. And then I was also teaching Tennessee Williams' play A Streetcar Named Desire in my 12th grade English class. And, that book is about the cycle of abuse. And so the thing that I wanted for this book was for my students to be like, look, Zelda is smart and talented, and she's not a dope, and she gets trapped in this cycle. It's really strong and it's hard to break out of. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you're dumb or you're not strong enough. It's vicious, and it knows no bounds. It does not discriminate. So, I hope, I thought about my students as I was writing it, like that one of them would read it and recognize herself in the book and ask for help.
Yeah. I mean, even as a 35-year-old out in Los Angeles, there were so many similarities between what Zelda goes through and what's been happening in the improv community and the entertainment industry, like at large in LA. I imagine it happens in like a gazillion other communities throughout the entire world. What I found so interesting is that you didn't, well, not interesting, empowering and amazing that you didn't shy away from abuse, and addressing like the Me Too movement happening to such a young woman. And as a YA reader, it was something that I hadn't read about to that extent before.
Well, I started writing this book before Me Too.
Mm-hmm.
So when that started sort of coming up in social media and in the news, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. Like, that's what this book is about. And I remember I was talking to my mentor and I said, what if we have feminism figured out by the time before my book can come out? And she was like, that is not a problem, Nicole. I think you can not worry about that. Wouldn't that be a good thing? And I was like, I'm sorry. Yes, that was a selfish moment.
No, I totally get it. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, I just think that some people, we get this idea in our head of what quote unquote abuse looks like. Mm-hmm. And it can be much quieter.
Yeah.
And much more sinister.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more prevalent, I think, than we realize, than a lot of us realize, even if we're in it,
Oh, absolutely. Because I think, like, especially when you have someone who, in the book, like the the protagonist experiences it with someone who is on a career trajectory that she wants to be on. She like idolizes him. And I think that's like a common experience for a lot of women. And that kind of gives, you know, someone who exhibits predatory behavior a reason to take advantage of them, which is such a pervasive thing out here and anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I remember when I was in elementary school and, you know, we were taught about drugs, right? Just say no to drugs. But the way that it was presented was like there was going to be some scary guy in a truck and he was going to offer you pie that had like cocaine in it or something. And then you had to be like, no, I don't want that cocaine pie, you know, and like run away and tell your mom. But then when I got to college, I was like, oh, the people who offer you drugs are your friends.
yes. Yeah.
And so saying no to a cocaine pie, I don't know where that came from, but you know, it's not that scary guy in a truck.
Right.
And so it's not that Zelda can just be like, this is a bad situation, I'm out of here. You know, it's more complicated than that because it's someone who could really help her get a leg up on her dream. You know, I think that the book, like, several of the write-ups of it have been like, is it too heavy a price to pay? You know, like she wants to do what, quote unquote, the right thing. But that's what keeps so many women quiet is that, you know, well, okay, I say this thing, but then I get labeled and I don't get believed.
Yeah, you get labeled as being difficult and it ends up hurting, you know, kind of your potential. It hurts your opportunities. And like, that's what was so great about this book. You know, again, it was like, oh my God, I wish I had this.
Well, thank you. That really means a lot to me. Thank you, Becky.
Sure.
I think the thing about, and I say this, I can't remember where I said this somewhere else, but one of the things that the patriarchy does is it isolates women and it makes us feel alone. And then it makes us feel crazy about our experiences. And so the way that we combat that is by sharing experiences. And sometimes fiction can be that bridge, you know, that you can read a book and go, oh my gosh, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't hurt Zelda to have shared her experience with you because she's fictional.
Absolutely,
but,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, that's why I always tell my students, you know, this is high stakes stuff we're doing in here. When you read, you become more empathetic. All these studies show, right, that people who read fiction are more empathetic than people who don't. And in order to make the world a better place, we have to be able to stand in someone else's shoes. But then that reverse can be true as well. Like books can empathize with us. And make us feel like we can go on, you know?
Yeah. What I also really loved in the book is that Zelda does confide like in her brother with her friends about what's happening. And they're all pressuring her to be like, say something, say something, say something. Because that's what a lot of people say. But ultimately, it does like give such a sympathetic view to her of like, this is on me. Like, I am in charge of my trajectory here. I don't feel comfortable saying anything right now. It has to be when I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's, you know, and she's always got one of the things, Lance Rubin, who wrote Crying Laughing, which is another great book, a YA book about improv that just came out a couple months ago. And one thing that Lance said when he read my book is he was like, she's smart and she, you know, she says things like, she says things to Ben, like, why do you call me Ellie? You know, she confronts him about things, and yet the patriarchy still spins around her. And so it's so hard. It's so hard to get out of that. And there are 100,000 good reasons why people stay quiet.
Sure. And I think like there are people who think that abuse or, you know, experiencing toxic behavior again and again only happens to like a certain type of woman, you know, and it's like, no, it can be anyone.
I mean, and that's another thing that the patriarchy does, right? That like a power does is it paints a certain picture. And so we can all look at that and go, well, I'm not like that. And, you know, I think about like, I was not a kid who I was pretty, middle school is a tough time for many, many people. And there's some real serious bullying that went on, you know, that I was seriously bullied in middle school.
Yes, I've had that experience. Yeah.
I think a lot of writers like this is where we end up
for sure. This is like why we're here. Yeah.
But I remember I was in 7th or 8th grade, and I got this pass to go down to the counseling center during homeroom. And I was like, oh, all right. So like I go in and I walk into this room, and there's a bunch of other kids who I know have also been bullied. And I was like, oh no, I'm not one of them. And I never went to this meeting again. It was essentially like a bullied kids support group. And what I should have done is like reached out to these people that were experiencing the same thing as me and found strength in their experiences. But I didn't want to be thought of as one of those kids.
100%.
And so I further isolated myself.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like the cycle of bullying in middle school and in high school is like a lot more complicated than I think people make it seem. It's like you're the bully, you're either the person getting bullied, the bullied, and then the bullier. And especially when you go to like a larger high school, there's like different like levels of different people. You find yourself in so many like different like situations where you don't necessarily like, it doesn't come across as like simple as maybe people think it is.
Yeah. And sometimes, I think about the ways that I treated people who I viewed were, of a lower social status than I was.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, when we keep doing that, when we keep looking and dividing ourselves, then nothing can be better, right? Like we cannot make things better for women. We cannot make things better for all of the nerds in the world.
Yeah.
Right? When we keep making divisions between ourselves, we have to come together. There's strength.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand the reasoning why people do that because like you're just in survival mode, you know, and it's like, I got to do what I can. And, you know, looking back, for sure. I wish I could have like stood up for people more, stood up for myself, called other people idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's another great thing about writing fiction is you can sort of make people that make better choices than you did.
Yeah.
You know, got some like smart teenagers. They're much smarter than I was when I was that age.
Yeah. I was about to ask you that, like, as a high school teacher now, especially with like young women and non-cisgender men, do you see people... Because, like, in the book, Zelda, within a summer, you know, is able to address what's going on and stand up for herself versus, I think, like, maybe women of our generation, it's taken us, if any, you know, years and years and years to find this strength. Do you see young women exhibiting kind of, like, the strength and the empowerment in such short amount of time that, like, Zelda has?
That's such a good question. You know, okay, so two things. Like one, the schedule of this book, like just the calendar of the dates is so compacted. It's just over 2 weeks.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah.
So much happens in 2 weeks. But I don't know. Were you a camp kid? Did you ever go to camp?
I went to Jewish sleepaway camp like my entire childhood.
I was such a camp kid, and every one day at camp feels like a week. You know.
Yep.
And so there is a lot that happens for sure. That being said, like I feel like the kids in my classes understand the world in a much more savvy way than I did at that age.
Yeah.
And I think that just has a lot. It just has a lot to do with the way that people are standing up for each other and themselves and. Just quite frankly, like representation, right? I mean, we're always saying like we need representation in books and in movies and you know, because it's so important that people see themselves. But then again, it's important that we see other people and see that their experiences, just because they're different than ours, doesn't make them weird. It's just different. And, you know, like your normal is not everyone's normal.
Exactly.
And my students understand that on a much deeper level, certainly than I did when I was in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like, it's so inspiring to me. And it's inspiring that like there are other people who, you know, maybe could have felt a sense of isolation that older generations have felt that no longer maybe experience that, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not saying everything's perfect, of course.
Of course. Yeah,
because we wouldn't be standing here talking to each other if it was. But I wouldn't have written this book if it was. But I certainly see glimpses of hope for sure. I mean, I just love teenagers. I always say they're my favorite people.
Yeah.
And when I stand in front of a group of them, they give me so much hope for the future. And it makes me feel like my future has hope in it too. It's just intoxicating to be with them.
That's amazing. I asked another YA author who was on the show, but do you find yourself equipped to give advice to young.
Oh, that was Amy Spalding, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Amy. Yeah, and she was like, no. And I was like, no, that's not true.
Amy's great. Yeah, we have the same editor.
She is so great. I love her books.
Yeah, Maggie Lerman, she's a genius. Yes, I would say I absolutely. I mean, I know what Amy said. She was like, I don't know. I don't feel like I necessarily do, but I don't know. I totally feel equipped to give them advice. I maybe not right in feeling that I'm equipped to give them advice, but I see so, I think I've had more than 4,000 students in the last 14 years. And so I see patterns for sure. Yeah. And I can say to a kid like, oh, honey, if he's not reaching out to you, he's not that interested. And that's just fine. Don't give so much of your power away.
Yeah.
I can see that. And whether or not they believe me is one thing, but
of course, yeah.
I had a whole class one year that called me Mama Kronz. I definitely have this sort of maternal, vibe. Even I started teaching at age 26, and even back then they were like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you're like the cool teacher. The young teachers are always like,
but now I'm 40, and
that's still young.
Come and talk to me. Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing too. Like, I don't want to portray myself as a counselor in any, I don't have training in that, but what I will do is I'm like, oh, I can see that you are sad, or I can see that you are having a hard day, and my line is always, are you talking to someone about this? Why don't I email your counselor? And so I'm not solving all these problems, although sometimes I do give advice for sure. But mostly I'm like, hey, you know what? Okay, your last name starts with T. That's the great thing working in a high school is that then we have systems in place, and I can say I want you to talk to this person. And so I do feel like I'm sort of like Grand Central Station, and I teach creative writing. That's about a third of my schedule.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
We as creative writers have lots of feelings. And so I am definitely on the front lines of hey, that looks like an eating disorder. I think you should talk to your counselor. Hey, you look really sad. Who'd you break up with? Yeah, let's go have you,
Yeah. That's so great. I think that's so great that you're not only helping your students, but with a wider audience through this book. And so, it was, it really did bring about all of these emotions in me and experiences that I've had that I didn't expect. Because like I said, the things that happen at this camp are definitely still pervasive, out here. It's getting better, but it's certainly they've said that. Yep, that theater has done that.
What's been interesting is the adult men in my life who have read, the advanced reader copies, almost to a person. They either call me or see me or whatever, and they say, do guys really say things like this? And what that says to me is two things, right? One, oh, you, even you wonderful man, are so protected from the vitriol that other men say to women.
Yeah.
And so early on I was like, I don't know that I want a girl on the cover of the book, because it's really not a book that just girls should read.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really a book for everyone. And Lance Rubin blurbed the book, and on the back he says, I love the last part of his blurb. He says, a powerful and necessary read for all genders. And I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
And in the end, Zelda is on the front cover, and I love it. And it is a gorgeous cover, designed by Lisa Smith, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about the way that it went. But I was worried initially, because I'm like, boys need to read this book too, because even those good boys aren't hearing the things that other men and boys are saying to girls.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. So when does the book come out?
Comes out Tuesday, April 21st.
Very exciting.
That is coming really fast. And it's so funny because I started working on this book 3 years ago. I got an agent 2 years ago. The book deal came 1 year and 8 months ago. And so it has felt so far in the future, and the future, Becky, is here.
I mean, it's in 2 weeks. It is so exciting, and I'm sure there's a shit ton more to come.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was once I released I don't know, the garage door of like, yes, you can be a writer. Like so much is just, I gave myself permission that this was a thing I got to do. And it's just been flowing. So yes, I have books in the pipeline in my head and on paper, and of course with the pandemic and everything, the celebration of this book has changed.
Sure.
And I did have a good cry when my publicist wrote me and said, you know what, I think we've got to cancel these bookstore events. And I was like,
it's so sucky.
I likened it to being a high school senior, you know, that you've done all the coursework, but like you don't get the ceremony, right? So it's like, I'm not getting the party, but I'm going to have 2 online events. And one of them is a Q&A on Instagram Live with Nina LaCour, who is my mentor. And we met when she came to my school for an author visit way back in 2011. And she's just been an outstanding human being and ally for me.
Cool.
So it feels very appropriate. Like we met when she came to my school and we did a Q&A where I was the person answering the questions. And so now my first Q&A is going to be with Nina asking me the questions.
That's great.
And when's the 21st?
Oh, okay.
At 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. So that's where Nina and I are.
Awesome.
And then I'm having a Facebook Live sort of loosey-goosey thing that Saturday, which was supposed to be my bookstore launch. It was supposed to be at the Red Balloon in St. Paul, Go Indie Bookstores. And that'll be 4 p.m. Central Time. And that's going to be me. I don't know what. I was in sketch comedy and improv for so long, and I've got this song that I wrote back in the day about a girl who doesn't have a lot of dates because she's funnier than all the boys that she tries to go out with. And so I think I'm going to play and sing that song on Saturday. Some of my students have heard that. So
that'll be fun.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to have cake and eat it. I don't know.
Great. Tell everyone else to get cake. I'll be eating cake. Are you teaching remotely right now, or?
Well, I tell you what, I'm on sabbatical this year, actually.
Oh, okay.
When I got the book deal, I had talked to some other authors, and they likened launching your first book like having a baby. And I've done that twice. And so I was like, that's a lot of work and a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
So I applied for a sabbatical through my district and was granted it. And we have a really great union.
Yeah.
And they helped sort of figured that out because it was a very unusual request. Usually when people get a sabbatical, it's to like go get another master's degree. And so I was like, here's this very weird thing that I want to do. And so ultimately they were very supportive.
Well, awesome.
So I wrote another book this year and I've been meeting with other writers. I feel like I've kind of like thrown together my own MFA.
Yeah.
It's been a really fun year, but I miss kids like crazy. So I'm definitely, I'm contracted to go back in the fall, but I'm ready to go back in the fall.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, should we do like a really hard pivot to
Let's do it.
Star Puppy?
Yes, I was a ballet dancer growing up. So, yes.
Oh, we know how to
pirouette.
do it. Yeah. Let's pirouette into Star Puppy. I'll read a quick synopsis. So Star Puppy I cannot get over the title.
I mean, I will tell you, Becky, I love romance novels.
Yeah.
Like, I just love them. And I'm a big fan of the historical romance novel. I sort of got an inroad into romance novels because of Jane Austen. I'm a huge Jane Austen person. And then someone was like, oh, there's these people that are writing like what if Jane Austen books.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And so I got one by Abigail Reynolds and then it was really sexy. And I was like, wow, this is not what I was expecting. I will take more of this, please. And so, love. If you're a Pride and Prejudice person, you're a Jane Austen person, highly recommend Abigail Reynolds, all of her Pride and Prejudice what ifs. Some of them are sexier than others. She's really great. I love Julia Quinn. I love Kate Noble, Cat Sebastian. Like I'm a big fan.
Yeah, you're okay. So are you okay? But we read a sci-fi, which was still still great. Okay, so we read Star Puppy, a sci-fi romance novella. It is written by Suzanne Grant. Is currently 99 cents. So this is the synopsis. Starfighter pilots Prince Rorn and Trish work well as a pair, but only as friends. Even though these two have the hots for each other, Trish has a hard time acknowledging her feelings. But when a stowaway space puppy sneaks onto the Bezos Station, the cute little yip wag melts their heart and teaches them the true meaning of love.
Yes. Yeah, this was unlike anything I've ever read.
Yeah.
Can we start with the cover? Can we talk about
Oh
the
my
cover?
God, absolutely. Yes. Do you want to describe the cover to everyone? I mean,
for sure.
It's insane.
Yes. So cover design by, I'm not sure how to say this person's first name, Rogena Brewer. So we have it's sort of like a cool blues in the background. I think we're supposed to be seeing like we are on a space station. So I think this is like space behind us. And then in the foreground, we have sort of a Ryan Reynolds at his peak lookalike.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yeah. He looks like Ryan Reynolds, like 23-year-old Ryan. He looks really young.
Yes, very young. And he is wearing, so the shirt that he is wearing is sort of blue-green. And are you a Parks and Rec person?
Yeah.
Me too. And you know how Chris Traeger wears that shirt and it's made out of Bumbleflex?
Yeah.
Right? That's what it reminds me of, but there's no collars in the future. And then it adheres to his six-pack.
It's insane. It looks like he can't breathe in it. Like he needs baby oil to get into it or something.
Or it's like soaking wet or something.
It's from space water.
Yes. And then he's got a sort of a loose leather jacket, like a bomber jacket. And now you need to envision Top Gun because that's what the deal is. Like they are fighter pilots. And so he's got like the Top Gun logo. He's got dog tags on. It says Star Puppy.
Yeah.
And this is the fifth in a series.
Yes.
So you have to keep that in mind. But I think that the central feature of this cover is the puppy.
Yeah.
That is on his shoulder, and it is licking his jaw. And our protagonist, one of our protagonists, I guess, is such a badass that although he will grow to love this puppy in the book, like he does not break eye contact with us. Yeah.
He is like, oh, there happens to be. The dog looks like it's like where a parrot should go, and it is like the dog is like on his shoulder. I don't know how that dog has the upper body strength to like stay up there. And he's just like, it's a cute puppy, I have to say. He looks like a kind of like a Shiba Inu, puppy.
I think the other thing that's worth noting are the color of Rorn's eyes here, two R's, two N's in Rorn. That they are pale. They are described in the book as, this is an English teacher, right? Analyzing a book. And so I have quotes written down.
Sure, please.
He is described as having pale golden eyes. And this is the way that we know that he is not a human from Earth.
Yes.
That he is a human from another planet.
Which is like if Scotland were a planet, it feels like.
Because I've been getting ahead of myself a little bit, but his voice is described. He has a combination of three things, and one of them is a slight Scottish accent.
Yeah, I always knew they were aliens.
Maybe, I mean, I'm just trying to think about the logistics, right? Because this takes place 11,000 years in the future.
Yes.
And but there's humans in other clans on other planets.
Yeah.
That the Earth was not aware of. And so what I think happened, and this might be covered in one of the earlier...
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah. But I think what happened is there must have been a Scottish explorer that did not tell... He had to take some, or she had to take some people with them. So a little like group of Scottish people that then got into a rocket ship they made and blasted off, traveling through time and space, because that, I think, is the only logical way of how there are humans on other planets that have a Scottish accent.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, I think maybe there was, like, some secret space program that we didn't know about. It was, like, it existed underneath the beautiful Highlands underground lab.
Loch Ness, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think that it's the Loch Ness Monster, but it's not. It's a rocket ship.
It's a rocket ship. They hopped in. The Captain Loch Ness, took them to, and it was like they were from like a moon in Saturn, right? Or a Saturn moon? Is that where they...
I am unclear.
Yeah, or I'm not sure.
I know that they are 43 light years from Earth.
Oh, Saturn for sure. No, I'm kidding.
And that like Rorn's people, by the way, I'm not a science fiction person, although I say this to my students, my creative writing 2 students, like we do this mini lesson, or we do this like little mini unit in sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm like, this isn't really my jam, and then I spend the rest of the time talking about awesome science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah,
and so
of course.
I think I've told myself that this isn't my jam, but one of the things that when I have tried to write this myself, I can never come up with names for things, and so I'm always really very impressed by that creation of essentially what sounds like nonsense words. So he is of the Vashnada.
Okay. Yeah.
but from someplace far away. But I think it's outside of our solar system.
It might have been, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Saturn. Maybe I'm thinking of another science fiction thing that took place on Saturn.
They do go through early on, when they're in that the school thing.
Yeah,
right?
they do the
crash into the Saturn. So maybe that's
what it was. Yeah, but they were doing like a simulation, kind of like an X-Men or something, where they like
or Ender's Game or something.
Oh yeah, Ender's Game. That's it. Yeah. So you said that you came up with a tagline for the book.
I sure did, and I have to say, so we wanted one for Unscripted, and I ended up writing. And granted, they were variations of some of the same, but I ended up writing about 75 taglines for Unscripted. And I'm really happy. I love the way that it turned out. The tagline for Unscripted, by the way, is "Some jokes cross the line." They want a little bit of a hint, because like unscripted, what does that even mean? Which is a great point. Okay, so here's I'm well versed at writing taglines. So here's my tagline.
Okay.
She thought terrorism was a threat until she saw his abs. And then the subtagline is, and there's also a puppy in this book.
Love it. I came up with, I don't know. We'll see. She has daddy issues, but together they have doggy issues. I don't know what that means.
I love it. I mean, so, I don't know, where do we start?
We can get into it. I mean, we have, I
have 8 pages of notes.
Okay, we got to hop right in.
Like, I'm very, very invested in this.
Oh my God.
Okay. So we start off, we have to just start at the beginning. I think we have to start at the beginning. So, I can't. It's embarrassing how long it took me to realize that Bezos Station was named after Jeff Bezos.
Oh my God! Right away I was like, oh yeah, this is sold on Amazon, of course. Got those Amazon ratings
in my head. I was like, oh, science fiction, made up things that I don't understand. Like I just glazed past it, but Okay, so we start off at Bezos Station. From the puppy's point of view, from the first person puppy's point of view. And the minute I saw that, I was like, I am all in.
Same. Yeah.
Totally. And it takes place during the wedding of Lorne and Trish. And so I right away was like, well, this is like the beginning of Romeo and Juliet, because we get the opening soliloquy, we get that opening sonnet. Two households, both alike and I can do the whole thing, English teacher, right? But we know they die.
Yeah.
And so we know the ending. And yet for centuries, we have come to look at, want to know how that happens. And so here we are presented with sort of a parallel opening. We know that there's a wedding. We know the puppy feels a lot of responsibility for this wedding. But how did it come to be?
Yeah. I mean, it reels you in so much. And I was like, yep, on board.
Yep. I mean, the end of it, I love that the puppy has puppy-like metaphors and puppy-like ways of looking at the world. She says, the last thing she says is, sit, stay, and you'll see how it all began.
Yeah, it's very sweet. So then we launch into the story itself, and it's now not told in first person at all. It's now third person. And we meet Trish and Roarne. Roarne is a prince, and he is like all in. He needs Trish. He loves Trish. He will do nothing. He is on her a lot. And she's like, I love him too. But she has a father who abandoned her, but who is also like a famous or like a really renowned pilot or like army person. And so she's afraid of abandonment.
Yes. And I think it's a really solid motivation for keeping Roarne at arm's length because she sees him as a player. And that's what happened to her mom. Her mom got pregnant with her and thought that General Zeke Milton was, her answer to a happy life. And while he grants her a DNA test and lets her put his name on the birth certificate, that is the end. And I found that to be very interesting and complicated for General Zeke because he comes from this very storied military family and everybody knows who he is. So when he gets this girl pregnant, I was like, wow, do you think he has a change of heart that at first he's like, yes, and maybe, Becky, maybe secretly all along, he's really wanted to be present in her life, but his family, like he felt like he couldn't because of the expectations of his family.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, I mean, spoiler alert, he, comes back in the end and you know, is like, I'm going to be there for you. And so, yeah, I definitely believe that because, again, he like all this time has felt like guilt and remorse for, you know, abandoning his daughter. At the same time, he also like, he did help her from afar. Yeah.
He refused to meet her, but he did send some guilt checks in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good to know that 11,000 years from now, we still have checks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just glad paper is still a thing. And he also later on, getting ahead of ourselves here, but he does take out a note that the, you know, her mom has written him. And I'm just, as an author and a book person, I'm really glad that there's still paper in the future.
That's great. You know, it was so funny. Like, there were some things where I was like, what is the trajectory here? Because like, it's 11,000 years in the future, yet they still had references to the movie E.T.
Yes, I wrote that down too. An Urban Dictionary.
Yes, Urban Dictionary was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
So,
and just the fact that it's named Bezos Station, and then there was another station that was destroyed, the Glenn Musk Station.
Yep.
And that's actually when it made me realize that Bezos Station was Jeff Bezos, because I was like, oh, John Glenn and Elon Musk, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But man, that's like a long time for those people's, you know,
legacy.
like names to be in the mouths of the people existing. Oh, and friend zone. That is also a term that is still used 11,000 years in the future.
Yeah. So it's like, do you hear that? Steven Spielberg, Urban Dictionary people. I know you're all listening. You guys in the future, you're sticking around.
Your legacy will live on.
Yeah. That's how important your work is. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get this, you know, we get Trish being like, no, we can't be together. And we know she's got this really good reason why they can't. And, you know, Ron just does not understand. And there's a couple of moments where he has these sort of fantasies of grab. Did you notice this? His hand twitched with the urge to wind that length of hair around his fist to steer her mouth to his.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on, buddy. Like, you can't, this isn't caveman, you know, like. I didn't love that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where, it is like, it's one of those things where it's like tricky in romance where like it's supposed to be sexy and people find that for sure sexy. But yeah, when you're kind of coming into it, you're like, oh, is that a thing everyone likes? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was just maybe just because it feels, you know, it feels like a part of something that used to be sort of granted to men. Yeah. You know, that women as property to, I don't know. That one just like pinged just me a little bit, you know.
For sure.
I was able to get past it, but.
Yeah. I mean, there's a weird power struggle between them because he's like a prince, but he's kind of like the Prince Harry of his like kingdom in a way where it's like, oh, he can like, he's not going to be king. He's like third in line or whatever. And, you know, so he can like marry whoever he wants. He can kind of do whatever he wants to an extent. So yeah, I totally agree with you that there is like this weird, like, even though he's not in power, he is comparatively to everyone else.
Yeah. And maybe it does give us like, it adds more understanding. Like Trish obviously understands him better than we do. And so, you know, she probably understands these sort of power impulses that he has, and they may make her, they may give her pause as well. Yeah. Yeah. I love the men that she sort of half dates, right? Like we have to, she goes off on a couple of dates that makes Ron really nervous. And the first one is with a doctor called Dr. Leonardo Treat. Yeah. Oh my God. I was like that. I thought of Leonardo DiCaprio right away. And then like, he's a treat. He's a doctor and oh my gosh.
Can you imagine excellent. Like Dr. Treat?
Second person, did you catch the name of the second person she goes on a date with?
What was the second person's name?
Jack Freeman.
Yes.
Is there a better name for, you know, like Jack, which is like every man, right? And then he is a free man. He's the opposite of Willie Lowman, right?
Yeah.
He's Jack Freeman. I loved it.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that you're finding these references. This is like fascinating to me because I'm just like, I like the sex. And then I'm like, Freeman, yeah.
You know what I've been thinking about? I'm like, okay, if future students or past students of mine find this and listen to this, like, are they going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so Miss Kronzer? Or are they going to be like, I can't listen to her talk about, can hardly say the word sex in front of students. Yeah.
Well, I have to say my old English teacher and drama teacher listened, and I was like, oh my God, like romance novels are so pervasive. It's not just like Count of Monte Cristo. Like, this is great.
Ooh, Carlin. So she has a best friend, right? We get this best girlfriend, Carlin, but she breaks the girl code because she just tells him that she likes him.
I know.
And I was like, Carlin, maybe things are different 11,000 years in the future, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, she's surrounded by people, you know, both wrong, like people who are closest to her in her life just know. You know what I mean? And I think like, okay, this is a novella. Kind of get the pacing rolling a little bit. But 100%, I feel like if this book were longer, I'm like, okay, like we're moving a little fast, girl code breaker.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of there's some very exciting plot points that we do move through very quickly in the name of it being, 88 pages,
right?
Or whatever this is.
I felt like there were times where it was almost like, I think there were scenes that we needed to see, and then there were scenes that we saw that we didn't need to see. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's always tricky as a writer too. I know I get to the place sometimes where I'm like, okay, I have to get to this other scene that I know in my head, and then it's later that I go, oh, actually, I do need to slow down and show this thing, or I have to flip this out. Like there's a whole subplot of Unscripted that used to be there that that I just like totally had to lift out for that very reason. It's like, actually, we're probably spending time there when we don't need to.
Yeah, it is this weird thing. I mean, we get this note all the time of show, don't tell. And I felt like there was a little bit of tell, not show. I mean, I guess it's probably different with books than screenplays or whatever. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they do get a couple of, the puppy puts her paw over Roran's heart. Right.
Yeah.
And he says, "You are home." And so that is how we know that the two of them have connected.
Yeah. It's so sweet. Okay. So we got to get to this puppy plot line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. I've been skipping that a little bit.
I know. So we then meet Puppy in the midst of this, for the first time. Puppy is like, it like stowed away. People are after this puppy because they think they want like to enslave dogs or something. It's on this like other planet or other space station, right?
Right. Yeah. They eat them like their protein.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this one's the runt, and so they were just going to drown it, but it gets away. She gets away. That when I read that part, I was like, because as a dog person myself, like I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. It was
poor
very
puppy.
Action packed. Like that whole when it opens up on the puppy's point of view, and we watch how the puppy almost gets drowned and then runs and goes under what I think is a car. And, and then even offers up some of the meat she finds to another runaway puppy. It was very intense.
Yeah, and these dogs, like the puppy is a yip. What is it?
Yipwag.
Yipwag. And Yipwag dogs are like smarter than Earth dogs.
Yes. We are told that, let's see, she tells us we're more intelligent and attuned to emotions than Earth-bred dogs. We can even read minds, some say.
Wow.
Which is such a smart author choice because then, this puppy can tell us what's going on with Roran and Trish. And she's covered her. Like, how does the puppy know what they're feeling? Well, Yipwags are different.
Yipwags are different. There was a part of me that was like, I think puppies are like that now, or dogs are like that now. It's fine.
You just can't articulate it the way that we can understand.
Exactly. She refers to humans. Puppy refuse. Okay, so they name the dog Puppy. We keep saying Puppy, and like, I don't know how much I wish they had given Puppy a different name that wasn't their. Like, it's like me naming a baby human. And I mean, that's actually a pretty good name for a baby.
Maybe I take that back.
We'll do that.
But one of the names that they discuss is Blackie, and they discuss it twice.
I know.
And I was like, you are as irresponsible as to consider naming a dog Blackie, then fine. Puppy is just fine.
Yeah.
But man, I love naming things. I joke with my students that the reason that I had children is twofold. One, to read all of the Harry Potter books out loud to them, and two, to name them.
Yeah.
So I wish that they would have taken the opportunity to be a little more creative with the name.
I know. Yeah. So Puppy manages to get onto the Bezos station. She hops onto this and then that, and the puppy is there, and they discover the puppy, and my goodness, they love that fat little belly of that
The belly does get referenced a lot.
I know,
There's
but
a lot about the belly.
Yeah, and they are just, I mean, Trish is in love. Puppy's in love. Yeah.
Yeah. He pees on Jack Freeman, and that is how we as readers know he is not the guy for us.
No, yeah. If a puppy pees on you, fix your life.
Yep. 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 And so it is because, the puppy says, and I don't know that I wrote down this quote, but the puppy is like, look, they were meant to be together, but I was the one that sort of got them back on the path.
Yeah.
And it really is. This puppy brings them and puts them in the same room, and they're the two that care the most about Puppy and making sure she has enough to eat. And she joins the canine squad, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, Puppy found, in the end, it's a love story, but it's also like Puppy finding their destiny. And it's also a hero's journey in the sense that.
Sure.
Yeah.
They all have arcs.
They do.
Yeah.
So eventually Trish and Rorn, after interacting with Puppy, finally are like, we got to be true to ourselves. We belong together. And then they have I guess it was a pretty hot sex scene. I think I liked it. I wish there were more. Yeah.
I just wanted it to be longer. Because it's like really that moment you've been waiting so long. I wrote it down. It's 66% of the way through the novel. And that's just, the Kindle told me that. I didn't do the math.
Sure. Yeah. You did.
But, so you're waiting like a good amount of time, I think.
Yeah.
And I could have used just a little bit more before the metal hit the rubber hit the road. That's a terrible metaphor.
No, it's perfect. I totally agree. Cause I feel like there was so much of would they or won't they, but it was the same level of would they or won't they. I didn't necessarily feel the tension rise as much as I wanted to. And then when they finally had sex, it was so quick, and it was whoa. I guess maybe since it's not as long of a book, there isn't much space to lean into it more. But that said, it was pretty short. But it was hot. They yeah.
Yeah, it was totally hot. I was concerned that I don't know, maybe we've got some really excellent birth control or something in the future, but there's no talk of condoms, there's no talk of protection.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's usually in contemporary romance, that's a thing that the Romance Writers Guild of America or whatever they like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the other thing that I found interesting was from Rorn's POV. He talks about the lacy bra he knew she liked to wear. Now, this is the first time that they've been together, but is it just because they're fighter pilots and so they they change out of their fighter pilot outfits in front of each other like theater people? Theater people
maybe
are fairly naked in front of each other.
Totally.
Anyway.
It always blows my mind, and this isn't just in this book, but a lot of books, suspense books and other books that have action in it, where the woman wears a lacy bra underneath her uniform, and it's you're not wearing a sports bra or a bulletproof vest. What's wrong with you?
And I totally am all about even if you there's no chance anyone's going to see your underwear, but if it's beautiful in whatever that means to you and it makes you feel great, I think that's awesome. My sister works from home, even not during the pandemic, a lot. And whenever she has an important phone call, she puts on red lipstick and a pair of high heels. No one is going to see them, but it makes her feel powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. But no, practicality wise.
Yeah.
Lacy is itchy.
It's itchy, and it's protection wise, I don't know. If you're running, I don't know, maybe I'm just
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
It's not going to breathe the way that it should. But maybe the future has Bumbleflax lacy bras.
Maybe. Yeah. Way to go, future. You hearing that, bra makers?
And the other thing, the only thing that I was what? Is they're done having sex. And then he says, well, that's that.
Can you
Come on,
imagine?
man. It was like the least romantic thing that he could have possibly said. I was so like, Ron.
Yeah.
But maybe that's, we can't expect people to be perfect all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he finally had sex with the woman, with the love of his life. Maybe he was just like at a loss for words, or he said it. Well, it's that.
Yeah.
Like, like really sultry, like like the end of a sonnet.
This is the thing I've been waiting for, and it finally happened, and it's triumph.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he says it like, that's that.
Right around that whole section there. So Susan Grant is, she was in the military herself, and now she flies like commercial airlines.
Uh-huh.
And I love the idea of her, like this badass military woman that then is like, comes home at the end of the day and then like writes these romance novels about fighter pilots. Like, I just love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love her. And she's got all of this really great military jargon and all the politics, the pecking order, the conspiracy theories. I love a romance novel that is not just about two people getting together, but has some other element in there. And there is some nice, all this stuff about the Earth First terrorists and these conspiracy theories about who planted the bomb that they find. Like I'm all in on that.
Yeah, I mean the world, and grant, this is a series, so like the world was already in place, but like it is, I feel like in the wrong hands, like it could burn out so easily, like you run out of idea or whatever. And I was like, oh, it makes me want to read the rest of the series because I'm sure there's like so much more action, so much more politics in addition to, the romance. And so, yeah, you can really like sense that in this book. So the puppy, so Roran and Trish love each other. They go to this lookout on Bezos, the beautiful Bezos penthouse. They're with Puppy, and Puppy smells something. And they're like, Puppy's acting weird. What does Puppy smell? Lo and behold, Puppy is able to uncover that there is a ticking bomb on Bezos.
Yeah. Yep. And so Puppy saves the day.
Yeah.
And they're not really supposed to be in this observation cone.
Right.
And I can't quite understand what that is, but I love the idea of it. It seems very like there's like some sort of platformy thing, and then you look up and you see the real sky. Because I think that they've got this artificial sky on the station. So I think you're like really looking at the stars, and they're not really supposed to be there. Oh, because Puppy can read, by the way. Did you pick that up?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yes, Puppy is so smart. Puppy can read. And so Puppy sees that they are in a restricted area.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they go, and this part goes very quickly. This is a part I could have used a longer, but again, novella, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was kind of
it was very exciting that they find this bomb, and the bomb gets diffused, and they're all going to be honored by, wait for it, her dad.
Yes,
General
he is there.
Milton.
Yeah. So the dad returns. He realizes that he made a mistake with his daughter. He should have been there for her. They rectify. They put aside their differences. Rorn. Then we have a wedding. Then we end with a wedding.
We do. But there's one part though that, again, just sort of like, and I think it's just who I am, where I'm coming from, but Rorn reaches out to General Zeke.
Yes.
And asks his permission to marry
That still is a thing. It's still, that made me mad too.
Oh, and this bothers me anyway. But
Yes.
I mean, and I tell this to students, and they're like, you've ruined weddings for me, Kronzer. But, this stems from women belonging to their fathers and then being literally walked down the aisle to be given away to a husband. Yeah. And so that whole thing about asking permission to marry you is saying, like, can I have your property? And so, like, even just that, like, some people are like, oh, it's sweet and old fashioned, and okay, if that's fine, you do you, but like that is where it comes from. Oh yeah. And so just the fact that here's this man who has been entirely absent except for a couple of guilt checks, and what right does he have to be granting such a blessing or
absolutely
permission?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that definitely, because I was thinking about it because I had read something else and seen something else where the male character like asks permission from the father. And like, even then I'm like, oh, and then when I read it, I'm like, even in the fucking future, that's still a thing.
Like, we're still doing this?
Are you fucking kidding me, future?
So there are good things and bad things about the future, I guess.
Yeah. But
we have also not fixed copy machines. This made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
All the advanced technology in the galaxy at their disposal, and still the office copying machine never worked right.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? There's just like some things that are pervasive throughout human history from before they were even invented to the future.
Paper's a natural fiber, and so if we're going to continue with it into the future, we have to pay the price of, copy machine breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we have a wedding. We have the second half of the wedding.
Yes. As a romance reader, like, what's your like ideal happily ever after? Like, do you like a wedding? Do you like them having kids? Like, what do you like?
I hate it when they have kids.
Me too.
I hate it when they're pregnant, like when that's the end, that they're pregnant, unless it is a book about where that's like a thing, like that, and it's usually from the point of view of the woman that, she hasn't been able to have children. And then like when that becomes the thing, because that's what she wanted, then that's totally cool. But just the like, and then now they're complete because there's a baby. Like, I don't like that very much. I don't mind a wedding.
Yeah.
I don't need a wedding.
Same. Yeah. I'm fine with like, because you know how people are, there's like happily for now, and it's just like, oh, it just means no wedding, no kid. But it doesn't mean that. Like, even if it's just like, hey, we're going to be together forever, that for me, that's still a happily ever after. And like, because yeah, we know eventually they're going to get married and whatever, like they're going to do their thing. And we can imagine it's not a happily for now, I don't know why I just realized that bothers me, but like romance terminology
here together.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I as a writer, I struggle with endings a lot. And I have a tendency, I remember when I was in 9th grade, we read Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. And my 9th grade teacher hated the book, but I think it was like on the district list and he had to teach it. But he was like, I hate this book, but here we go. Yeah. And so I came in with, it's just so funny. I came in with this like, oh, Charles Dickens sucks. And one of the things that he didn't like about Dickens was that his endings were always wrapped up so tidily. He was like, it's like he put a freaking bow, on the end of the book. And I think about that sometimes. I am that writer. Like, I really do tie up all the things, and I want to make sure everyone's going to be okay or not.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that line, right? Finding that line of like, so the original ending. So sorry. Yeah. The original ending of Unscripted was like bleak, because I was like, okay, I can't be that guy that writes this perfect, beautiful, tied up ending. And then my agent was like, what is this? This ending is so sad. Why did you do this? And I went, well, I just didn't want to put it in the tiny bow at the end. And so it is I struggle to find that line of not too wrapped up, but not so like, oh, who knows what's going to be.
Yeah, I love the ending of Unscripted because like she like, I'm part of a feminist and intersectional feminist and queer friendly improv theater out here that just got started.
Awesome.
And I'm like, yeah, she's going to join the Ruby. I know it. It made me like very happy.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah. It's so awesome. Yeah, it was very bleak. The original ending was very bleak. So it is, I mean, it's definitely, I don't want to give anything away, but it's probably not what readers are expecting will happen. But, I think it's much more hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have any final thoughts and a rating A through F on Star Puppy?
Well, I can't really, I don't think that I can give it a rating just because I feel like I'm coming in here as an author being like, yay, I wrote a book. Please love my book. And then I don't want to judge another
100% hear you. I gave it an A+.
But I will say that I read it twice. Like, I like read it and I was like, okay, I'm in. And then I went through a second time and took notes and was delighted to do so. So, I would say like you, I am interested in the other, I think there's 6 actually total. This is the 5th in the series. And I just love her backstory. I love Susan Grant's backstory. And she's written just like a million of these. So, Is it a lovely way to spend 90 minutes? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. It was so much fun. I loved every page of it. It was just so great, and it was hot. I gave it an A. I'll give it a review as a podcaster. I gave it an A++. It gets an
That's
A++.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the title alone made me laugh out loud so much. Like, when my publicist was like, here's what Becky would like you to read, and I like barked out a laugh. And the other ones are like very intense. I can't remember the other titles, but they're like star something else, star very serious military thing, star thing. And then there's star puppy. And I was like, God bless Susan Grant. This is just outstanding.
Totally. I love like, there's something about a title, especially with like romance when, like I'm just like eating them up week by week of just like, yep, I know what this is about. Right from the title, I'm on board. There's sci-fi and dogs. Love it.
I'm in it. Yeah. I mean, and then I've heard you like, in other episodes of the pod when people are like, oh, I'm not sure romance novels are for me. I really like this. And the thing that the happily ever after in a romance novel, I love, that like, do I know what's going to happen? Absolutely I do. But I mean, tongue in cheek, sure. But Romeo and Juliet really does start that way. We know what's going to happen. Yeah. And that play has been constantly performed for more than 400 years. So I don't know, man. It's what it comes down to, I think, is why do you show up for a book? And there's this really great librarian. Oh my gosh, her name just went out of my brain. She's the one that she has an action figure. Oh. Crap. Oh man. I'll talk about her theory and then it'll come to me. But she's got this theory about the 4 doors into reading. And so, it's plot, character, world building, and language. And so if you are a person who is a plot person, maybe romance novels aren't going to be for you because if you show up not knowing what's going to happen next, it's not going to deliver that way so much. But if you're a character person or a language person or a world building person, then, and when you're like, plot, that's fine. But what I really care about is these people, or what I really care about is how the way they talk to each other or the description or whatever,
totally,
where it is.
I think for me, I'm a character because I love watching characters grow. I think that's what it is. It's just like an emotional journey for characters. I think that's kind of like what gets me going, I think, for me. What about for you?
I'm totally a character person.
Yeah.
Nancy Pearl. There you go. That is
Nancy Pearl. Okay.
Her name is Nancy Pearl. We've met. Like, she signed my action figures. She is just outstanding. Follow her on all the things. She's so smart and lovely.
That's awesome.
But yeah, primarily I'm a character person. And then I would say after that, it is probably plot. I do like plot. As an English teacher, I love good language.
Of course.
I just love dissecting language with students. Yeah. It's super fun.
What's your favorite book to teach or go, study?
What is my favorite book to teach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Streetcar Named Desire for sure is my favorite book to teach. So I teach IB English 12 is a big part of my teaching schedule. And for folks that don't know, that's International Baccalaureate. So it's a lot like AP classes, but it's international. It's based out of Wales. And so kids take exams in the spring and, the college credit and the whole thing. And so they redo curriculum every about 10 years. And then, they want you to switch your books up more often than that. And so I've spent the last 6 or 7 in teaching Streetcar and just digging into that book and, oh man, or the play. And it is just such a great time. I mean, the characters are so interesting. The things they say to each other, all that symbolism. And Tennessee Williams, his stage directions are poetry. I mean, I just, I had so much fun. And I had this student a number of years ago who I saw making hash marks on his notebook. And I was like, Blake, what are you doing? And he, his face got red. And he was like, I was just keeping track of how many times you did your Blanche Dubois impression. And it's so many times. So I love
That's
her.
Amazing.
And in fact, I had a whole scene in Unscripted where, it's so embarrassing to talk about now, but where Zelda reads A Streetcar Named Desire and is like, oh, now I know so much about my own life. And my editor was like, Nicole, this sounds like an English teacher wrote it. And I was like, that's because I am an English teacher.
Yeah.
So thank God Maggie was like, let's let's find another way to
Yeah.
get her to have this realization.
That's so funny. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say there's a company out here that does improvised Tennessee Williams, and it's like, oh my God, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I saw there because they have, or someone in Chicago was doing that too.
Oh, awesome.
So I saw that in high school. Like we had this really great improv team, and it was the 90s. You know, that's when I was in high school. So we were kind of ahead of the curve, having a high school improv team in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, it was really great. I enjoyed that because I had read Streetcar, and I think maybe Kite on a Hot Tin Roof by that point.
Yeah. Sold.
Theatrical education.
Sure. It got you in there. Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being a guest. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me, Becky. I had such a great time. I've really been looking forward to this.
Oh, yay. This definitely made my quarantined week.
Thank you.
So I hope you stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. You too.
Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.
'Cause I